Welcome to the programme. Good to see you. Well, look, who knows what the final result is going to be, but things are not looking promising for the opposition coalition ahead of the vote. Where have they gone wrong, do you think?
I think they were too late in uniting their rhetoric and choosing Kılıçdaroğlu as their candidate. Had the discussions within the National Alliance been concluded 6 months before the elections, and had they enough time to present a unified front to the voters, the results might have been different. All of the pollsters that I respect have gotten eggs thrown to their face in terms of predicting the first round. And obviously there has been a lot of soul-searching afterwards. Their conclusion is that the entire nation suffers from insecurity, and even though they know Erdogan has many shortcomings, they decided at the end to go with the devil they know rather than trusting their future to an unsteady and unknown coalition of 6 parties.
The world watched in horror that unfolding of the devastating earthquake in Turkey earlier this year, which took the lives of over 50,000 people in the country. To what extent was the government's response to that an issue during this election?
I think it was a huge issue, and when I say that, I'm sure a lot of Turkey experts or enthusiasts watching your show would shake their hands in denial. But data analysis from the earthquake zone, 9 provinces, show that both Erdogan and his AKP party lost more votes in the earthquake zone than in other regions of the country. I mean, for instance, AKP lost 7 percentage points vis-a-vis 2018 elections. In the quake zone, that was 9 percentage points. On the other hand, of course, even though Erdogan was late in responding to the initial stages of the quake, then he piled money to solve the problem, which I think pacified a lot of elections. At the end, though, there were more than 3 million out of a total population of 15 million people who migrated away from the quake zone, and most of them didn't bother to register, or the registration wasn't convenient for them to comply. As a result, I think the will of the people who suffered from the earthquake was not reflected to the poll booth.
You know, I think it was President Bill Clinton's election strategist, James Cargill, who said all elections were about, to use his words, it's the economy, stupid. That's what he said about elections. You look at this election, the Turkish lira fell to a historic low against the US dollar. I mean, who do Turkish people hold responsible for the country's ongoing economic crisis?
That's a very good question. If we look at the polls, 2/3 of the electorate opines that economic conditions are poor, and another 2/3 of those think that they're even going to get worse. Strangely enough, again, polls show that they blame AKP but not Erdogan. I think Erdogan's rhetoric that things are bad all over the world and there's nothing he can do, we should just be patient and ride it out, has gained some currency with the population. More importantly, though, one reason why the Turkish lira is so shaky is the immense amount of pork barreling or election spending that Erdogan has undertaken. Our president may have many shortcomings, but he's legendary for his fiscal prudence until these elections. I humbly estimate that he spent or promised to spend a sum equivalent to 4% of Turkish GDP to buy the votes. And when I say buy the votes, I think that's perfectly legitimate. Let me just remind our watchers that 4% of Turkish GDP is $35 billion of money being directly pumped into the pockets of the voters. Obviously, the opposition's rhetoric that all of this will have to be paid in terms of higher inflation or higher taxes didn't really register with the voter.
Atilla, lovely to talk to you. Hope we speak again in the next couple of days. Atilla Yesilada, the analyst for Turkey at GlobalSource Partners.